Ma'am, I'll start with you. Maybe just give us now a quick brief and summary, the facts established by the court.
On August 18 last year, the family of Kian was asking help from the public attorney's office because he was killed by alleged policemen. So I was sick then, and it was my birthday. So I told them I will call on my doctors or forensic experts to study the matter, and also our special public attorneys. So we were able to convene this POW forensic team and the special public attorney in the early about 5 a.m. of August 21. So we proceeded to the house of Kian, wherein he was there's a wake. So forensic examination ensued. Upon examination of the cadaver of Kian, the forensic experts of POW was able to see a wound inside the hole in the ear and at the back of the ear, and not only that, also at the back. And
So
Kian,
two in the head?
Yeah. There was three gunshot wounds, but the SOCO allegedly has just found two wounds at the head. So we studied the case and we filed the case, and the NBI helped us regarding the crime scene reconstruction. And then we filed the case at the DOJ, and a preliminary investigation was conducted by a panel of prosecutors headed by Prosecutor Toffel, Austria. So after a few months, the case was filed at RTC Caloocan. And for about 6 months, there was hearing, and the one who has control and supervision over the trial are the prosecutors, public prosecutors. So yesterday, the verdict was given. In only one case, the three accused were sentenced to life imprisonment or reclusion perpetua. But we filed cases not only against these three, but also among the other members of the team waiting at the police mobile near the barangay hall. And it was really established that the direction of the police officers who accosted Kian was not towards the police mobile, but away, 100 meters away from the house of Kian. So all the circumstantial evidence and the forensic evidence, physical evidence, testimonial evidences were really establishing and convincing us that this is not really a legitimate police operation, but a cold-blood murder.
Now, there were two things there that came out. So, na-establish po natin na pinatay talaga ng mga pulis, walang otoridad, walang laban, and it was murder, as you said. The other thing that came out during and after was the allegation on Kian. There were suggestions that he was a drug courier. Ito po bang kaso na to and the decision, does that also establish that all of that is also not true with regards to the accusations versus Kian?
Not true, because even in our investigation, the mother categorically stated upon our arrival that she failed to bring home a bicycle for Kian. A bicycle in Quiapo will just cost you 2,000 pesos. If indeed Kian was a drug courier, it's very easy for him to buy a bicycle. Malaking kita sa droga. So you can see they have a small store in front of their house, and then his father was the one running it, and Kian was helping his father before class in the morning kasi hapon ang pasok niya. And the mother is an OFW. So the allegation that he is a drug courier cannot be established in the case.
Okay.
In fact, the police officers failed to establish that Kian was indeed involved in drug syndicates.
My question goes to any of the three of you. There are those who say that, in effect, although the court does not use the term, in effect, the court ruled that it is an extrajudicial killing. But however, the PNP says, here I'm referring to Superintendent Durana, he says that it is not EJK because it does not fall under the definition of EJK under Administrative Order number 35. I don't want to be splitting hairs here, but how should we look at this conviction?
Well, I think we should look at this conviction first. At least for me, it gives credence to the notion that probably the statements of the president, the "I will kill you" statements, may be pandering into the baser instincts of rogue cops, emboldening them to do this kind of activities arbitrarily. Second, EJK, in a very technical sense, he's probably right. But EJK, in a very layman's term and in a very understandable significance, just means there is no court hearing, there is a killing, and the killing is prohibited under our law. So it's EJK. And third, it shows that EJK is indeed happening, even as shown in this case. So it is a reality in the Philippines.
Well, for me, I heard the PNP spokesperson say that it is not extrajudicial killing. I would categorically disagree. It does prove that there is extrajudicial killing. And his legal basis is AO 35. But that is a misguided application because AO 35 is specifically crafted for the protection of journalists. So when he says that it does not fall under AO 35, it just meant that Kian was not a journalist. But that is not what we are talking about when we're talking about EJ case in the drug war. Because our basis should be international human rights law as well as different pronouncements by the Supreme Court in their circulars as well as in jurisprudence. And as Dean mentioned, under international law and the Supreme Court has said extrajudicial killing is killing without due process of law, either by the instruction of the state or with the acquiescence of the state. So from our perspective, we believe that it does prove that there's extrajudicial killings and it just proves what we have been suspecting all along.
But
Attorney
Roque
Acosta.
would disagree.
In my honest opinion, as a lawyer for about 3 decades, even during the Spanish era, there is already an EJK. American time, Japanese occupation, no hearing. People are being killed without due process, without investigation. The bottom line here is whether or not these killings are state-sponsored or not. Now, our argument is this. If this is state-sponsored, PAO cannot investigate. PAO cannot file cases against state actors in this killing.
Why is that?
We cannot file any case because if it is true that this is state-sponsored killings or state-sponsored EJK, the NBI cannot go with us to investigate. The prosecutors cannot file cases in court, and the judges will not be able to hear the cases. There will be no verdict because if we will believe that this is state-sponsored. So as for us, public attorneys, this is not state-sponsored. Otherwise, I will receive a call from anybody up there and tell me, oh, stop doing that, stop assisting that, stop filing that case. So this is a clear-cut example that in our country, the state, all the state actors, the officials, are not condoning this type of merciless killing.
Well, you can say that the state is not condoning, but it could be happening without the condonation of the leaders
It
of the
happens
state.
anywhere. Some
Would
police
you also-
officers are being charged of killing, like in the case of Angelo Arnaiz, Reynaldo de Guzman, alias Kulot. The trial is
Yes.
now being
You are-
conducted, and we're also the
you
counsel
also-
for the
okay.
families of these two children.
And
So
you're
we are
saying-
here. We are here as part of the state. We are state actors, also state agents, but we are doing our best to deter these criminal acts of some, as our illustrious Professor Tamira said, rag cops.
Rogue cops,
Rag cops. Or
yes, ma'am. But how do we define-
Yes.
I can sense that there is something in the word in Tagalog, sabotage. The operations, the drug war of the state has a noble mission to protect the entire Filipino people against say massacres or the heinous crimes being committed by drug addicts. But still, there are some elements who are trying to destroy the mission of the president and the state to protect us from the adverse deeds or the criminal acts of these drug addicts and drug syndicates.
So you don't believe that extrajudicial killings can happen without the knowledge of officials of the state?
What
I mean, it can exist without the knowledge, say, of Malacanang, for example.
We have around 100,000 police officers nationwide.
So it can
The
exist.
CPNP cannot be with all these police officers anywhere. But still, the marching order is this: fulfill your duty. Because under the revised penal code, in order to be justified, first, fulfillment of duty, and if ever there is a violence or reasonable resistance rather from the one being arrested, or if they can employ reasonable means to repel the attack, but not unreasonable, but not employ violence or cold-blood murder or homicide.
Okay.
Because police officers are here to maintain peace and order, not to commit murder or homicide.
Attorney Acosta earlier said that, well, it seems that Kian's case was a case of sabotage versus
what?
the drug war of the president.
That
What
is-
happened was a case of sabotage. How exactly do you substantiate that? I mean, who in this case, what are you saying? Who
You know
is
why?
responsible for this?
There's a CCTV, big CCTV. Why would these police officers would do that act of accosting a child, unarmed,
They didn't see the
like
CCTV.
making a film or a movie? Gumawa sila ng eksena, alam nila yan, may CCTV dyan. Ang daming nagbabasketball. Bakit nila nagawa yun?
Pero hindi
If
po
really
ba-
they have good faith to uphold the legitimacy of the drug war, they should follow the manual on operations of the PNP.
Precisely.
Bakit ganun ang ginawa nila? Ang daming audience.
Precisely,
Ang daming
pero
nagbabasketball.
hindi po ba yan nga ang pangamba ng tao? In fact, yun nga yung tanong ng tao. Bakit ganyan katapang yung mga pulis? Alam nilang may CCTV, andyan ang barangay, walang kailangan magpaliwanag. And that precisely is the question of the public. And the suggestion is that not that there was no good faith, but that there was impunity. That the police were
I don't
used
believe
to
so.
this.
Because kung matinong pulis ka, gagawa ka ng ganon, bakit ipakikita mo pa sa buong mundo na may CCTV, barangay CCTV, gagawin mo yon? Di ba sabotahe yan? Pwede naman silang umaresto yung bata, suspected courier, arestuin mo, arestado ka, tara sa presinto.
Paano kung sabotahe ang ibig niyong sabihin? Na sinong nananabotahe at para kanino?
Ay, hindi ko alam. Pero ang punto doon, we can sense something wrong. Like even in the case of Carl Arnaiz and Kulot. Bakit inabdak sila sa Cainta at dinala sa Caloocan? O, bakit sila ginanon? Tapos, yung lugar na yun, may mga bahay-bahay din doon. Makikita rin sila. Para silang gumagawa ng pelikula. Pinapakita pa nila. O, talagang masesense mo. Ba't di na lang sila tumulong? Ayusin lang. Kung talaga bang drug courier, di arestuhin, bigyan ng due process. Parang pinagmamalaki lang sa buong mundo na ang mga pulis sa Pilipinas ganun. Wala naman sinabing Pangulong patayin nila walang awa ang mga tao. Wala sinasabing ganun. Pag lumaban, pag nanlaban talaga, totoong nanlaban.
Your basis po for saying that this was probably sabotage is based on the possibility that they were just stupid? I don't
No,
understand.
that's stupid. Something wrong is with this. That is why in the DOJ we filed cases for against 29 or 30 police officers, even the superiors. But unfortunately, they were out from the case. They were not charged. Only these three. That's why they could talk. If they, especially what's the name of that small police? Cruz, I think. He was crying terribly.
One thing that I think clearly everybody's on the same page is everybody's happy with this conviction of the policemen, no? And everybody is congratulating everybody who needs to be congratulated on this judgment. Are we also on the same page that, however, that when it comes to the Kian de los Santos case, actually that's an outlier? It was easier to prosecute in the sense that, as we said, my CCTV. Because of the CCTV, there was a lot of public outrage. And because of that public outrage, it was harder for government or any of the state actors to ignore and delay any action on this. In that case, would you agree that this is not actually the typical case that should be illustrating our discussion about EJ case and impunity and what government's actions might mean?
Yes, aside from the Efren Murillo case, I know of at least 3 other cases where they filed criminal charges against a policeman. We're all on the same boat. There's still no decision on probable cause. For us, when the families of Efren Murillo came to us, it was a time when the DOJ secretary was saying that there are no crimes against humanity because thug suspects are not part of humanity. So I think you can understand if the apprehension of going to the DOJ. It was very difficult for us to file these cases because we filed it at the peak of the popularity of the president, at the peak of the drug war. And the only very, very few families have decided to file these cases, at least with respect to human rights and legal groups, So, I think that the Kian case is really an outlier. It really is. And I think we cannot deny that because we ask, it has been more than 2 years since the drug war was started. How many policemen have been convicted? We only know of 3. If I am ignorant as to more policemen being convicted, then I would like to be educated. But at least for now, we only know of 3 after 2.5 years.
Is that a fact, ma'am?
I have no copies now of all the judgment nationwide, but cases have been filed against police officers, but were not sensationalized. And they were convicted, dismissed from service. In fact, the John De La Rearte case, the road raids at Makati EDSA, we were able to get a conviction against the one, it should be 2, because one committed suicide before the verdict.
No, but I think Attorney Aquino's point is specific in the context of the war on drugs.
Yes.
Not every single case filed against policemen, not road rage or but specifically in the context of policemen charged in the context of the war on drugs. Have there been other convictions?
There are many cases, but I can submit to you. I asked my lawyers to submit to us from Apari to Hulo, the decisions.
Ma'am, there are other convictions of policemen
Yeah,
for
there are
killing
many. In fact, in
drug
Bilibid,
suspects?
you may visit the
Recent- no,
Kanaka
I mean,
jail visit,
recently.
and you will see some police officers there.
Within the past year?
Yeah. One is just served a warrant of arrest, and yet there was he killed. There was a sense of fire, and he was sent to Bilibid. So only in this case, Kian was sensationalized. Other cases had not been heard. So we will suspect that some police officers are scot-free. No. The public attorney's office has a victims assistance unit now because in 2007, PAO has been strengthened by virtue of the Republic Act 9406.
So you're saying
We can
this
assist
is
the
a
vic-
typical case. Kian is a typical case, and
because
6 months is a typical
for
time
5 days,
period?
For 5 days when I was sick from August 18, 19, 20, 21, some senators are at the way bringing media. Some, Senator Trillanes was there, Senator Bam. There are many politicians there, so this was sensationalized. And I thought the family of Kian were supporters of the Liberal Party. That's why they are there. But the family kept on calling on me through some members of the media like Dominic Almelor, some TV5 reporters. So finally, when I felt good, so I called on my lawyers and our forensic team to proceed to the place and conduct a re-autopsy of Kian. So this is not our fault because it was sensationalized. That was highly documented. Now, in the case of Arnai's case, there was no CCTV. In Kian, there is. But still, the CCTV is just a factor, but we have eyewitnesses in Kian case. CCTV can be disputed upon by the accused, but eyewitnesses, like the minor children who were taken by Senator Intiveros at the Senate, 3, among them 3. So they help a lot in the case so that the court can be convinced that this is really a murder. This is really, there's something bad on the operation of the police officers. So what I can say now, if ever these 40 cases of alleged EJK have evidence, file it at the DOJ. And PAO can help them.